Hey guys, this is New Hampshire Cross Country, powered by Runners Alleys. This week's broadcast is brought to you by Merritt Hill Farm and Haunted Overload. I'm Landon Valancourt. I'm a senior from Messinic Regional. And obviously this past weekend we had the Meet of Champions. You know, it was a huge success. I love that we were able to race there. Personally, I'm pretty proud of my performance. I went through the 2-mile mark, almost 20 seconds faster than my PR in a 9:40. I was hunting Aiden Cox. Probably wasn't the smartest play by me, but I didn't want to just have a free state championship for free. I've always dreamed about it. I came up a minute short probably. And yeah, just a huge shout out to everybody that competed this weekend.
My name's Rohan Rai. I'm a senior at Wyndham. And honestly, this past weekend, I didn't have my best race individually, but we performed really well as a team. We finished third as a team. So this is the highest we've ever placed as a team at Meet of Champions, and it would have been our first time going to New England as a team. So I'm really happy as to how the day went.
I'm Morgan Orcutt, and I'm a senior from Concord. Unfortunately, I was not racing at MOCs, but fortunately, I was able to work at the meet and do like some of the live stream stuff with Forrest, which was super fun. And so like my favorite moment was just being able to like watch the race in action and see everyone so happy racing. Which is super cool.
I'm Addison Cox. I'm a senior from Co-Brown. And my favorite moment from MOCs was just having an opportunity to run on a fast course and to run a fast time against great competition. So.
I'm Luke Kasich, a senior from Co-Brown, and honestly, same here. I love being on a fast course in the most competitive race New Hampshire has to offer. And it's just it was really exciting to see that New Hampshire could pull that off and be able to get where we got.
All right. So MOCs being the first time that all the teams were able to compete against each other at one place, the committee took it upon themselves to rank the rankings this week based off of where the teams placed in the top 10. So that's what we have this week. So the girls will kick it off right now with their top 10.
Yeah, so coming in 10th, we have Hopkinton. So Hopkinton has obviously dominated D3 all year, just like many years in the past. They were led this weekend by Anna O'Reilly, who's a junior, and she came in 11th place. So great job to her. And they did a great job of running against the D2 and D1 teams and placing in a top 10 finish. So definitely continue to look for them in the next year or so to continue placing in the top 10 or even higher.
Yeah, and so coming in at 9 is Nashua South. And Nashua South overall has just been a super consistent team this season. They've always been in that 9-10 area in the rankings, which is really just shows the depth and like the strength of their team to really be able to show consistency every race. So good job to them as well.
Coming in 8th, we have Bishop Girton. They are led by Mary Kate Finn and Fiona Doherty, who are both juniors who came in 7th and 18th place this weekend. So they have a great team, obviously, and a great pack. And I definitely think that they're going to be moving up next year as well because they don't have many seniors, especially with their top 2 being juniors. So I think next year they're going to have a really good team.
Yeah, and so coming in at 7 is Dover. So to keep improving their performance even from last weekend, from states, which was a great performance. And then again, this weekend at MOCs, they had a breakthrough season, really. I don't think many people were expecting Dover to perform this well. So it is just overall great performance, great season. And they're led by Isabel McIntyre, who's a freshman, and she finished 17th. So really could show the strength of the team in the upcoming years.
Coming in 6th, we have Souhegan. So Souhegan's been a really strong team all year this year, especially in D2, obviously. So they have a really great top 2 in Chloe, who's placed 2nd, and she had a really great junior season. And then they have a really fantastic freshman who's named Stephanie Svetson, and she came in 13th. So with those two returning next year, as well as a lot of their team, I think that they'll continue to be one of the best teams in the state.
Yeah, and then coming in at 5 is Bedford, and they had an incredible season, especially without their ability to race a ton this season. and which was pretty cool to see. Or once they finished, it was cool to see the results, that the race between the 5 and the 4 team, which was Concord, came down to a 1-point tie, and it also came down really to the 6th person. So that was really cool because I feel like we don't see that a ton. But yeah, so they had a great performance. They were led by Carly Rinko, who finished with a low stick score, so that definitely helped their score.
Yeah, coming in 4th is Concord. Obviously, like Morgan said, they won the tiebreaker against Bedford with their 6th man. So good job to their 6th man. And then they were led this weekend by Molly Nyhan, who's a sophomore, and she came in 15th place. So congratulations to her on a great race. And then obviously Catherine Kennedy, not that far behind her. So I definitely think that they'll continue to be one of the best teams in the state next year. Returning a lot of their girls, and they're all really strong runners, and they all work really hard. So I would not be surprised to see them up again as one of the top teams in the state next year.
And coming in at 3 was Co-Brown. They had a really great effort, and they had a strong performance as well, especially not having 2 of their top 5 at the race. And they also still had the lowest total time, so that just like shows like the depth of the team and like how close their pack was and all of that. And they were led by Addison Cox, who won the race, which definitely helped them out with their score.
Yeah, thanks. Coming in 2nd is Exeter. So they came in 2nd by only 1 point to Hanover, obviously. So they tend to run really, really well historically at Meet of Champions. Like I said, they won the race a few years ago by just like 3 points, I think it was. So they tend to run really, really well here as a team. So they were led by Anna Madden, who's a senior, and she came in 6th place. And they just have a really tight pack, and they're just traditionally always one of the better teams out there. So I think obviously continue to see them up in the top.
And then coming in at number 1 is Hanover, which had a super crazy performance on Saturday. And, they had just had a super solid team throughout like the race and all of that. And they had a 1-point victory to Exeter, as Addison was saying. And so they had their top 5 finish in the top 35, which was really great to see. And they're led by Riley Roche, who finished 5th. So yeah, I think they're going to be a really good team to watch out for in the next couple years. They are losing their top 2 because they're seniors, but I still think it's not a team to count out.
All right, with that being said, we'll kick it off to Rohan to do the boys' rankings.
Yeah. At number 10, we got Monadnock, who are actually the Division III champions. They had a very solid season, and the whole season they were led by Tyler Hebert, who ran 17:02 this past weekend at Meet of Champions.
All right, so number 9 is Messinic. They were led by really gutsy performance done by Landon Valancourt. It was crazy to watch. He blew by me with like about a mile in, and I didn't know what was happening. He was going so fast.
You want to know what you're doing?
I saw him chasing down Aiden. What did you say?
You were running too slow.
I went through 4:45. You went like
too
flying
slow.
by. I don't know. But anyway, that was just a really impressive performance to me. It was really funny seeing him after the race. He was a mess. 1 second he'd be walking around, next throwing up on the ground. But yeah, that basically can be said for the rest of their team as well, because they came back from a loss at the Division III championships to become the number 1 Division III team at this race. So hats off to them.
Number 8 is Hanover. They were previously ranked number 5 in the rankings last week. You might be wondering why they're number 8. They're number 8 now, but the number 2 runner, unfortunately, wasn't able to race. So with that being said, that if their number 2 runner was there with the improvement that they're making through the season, they could have been 5th, 4th, 3rd, who knows? But, they still went out and performed really well. You love to see it. They did a really good job.
Yeah. At number 7, we got the Oyster River boys, who are led by Andy O'Brien, who had an extremely good performance this past weekend. He really bounced back from the Division II meet the previous weekend. Andy ran 15:49, which got him 7th place. They also ran really well as a team. Their second runner was Owen, who ran 16:53.
Yeah, number 6 is Bishop Girton. They're going to be a team to watch out for next year and in the future because they're returning all 7 of their runners this year, and being able to place 6th and qualify for New England's if it were to happen. That's just really impressive. They were led by Nate Fondakowski. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I think I did it pretty well. They also had a kid wearing Alpha Fly Next Percents, so that's a pretty big flex if you ask me. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Number 5 is Sanborn. They made some big improvement from last week, being ranked number 7 going into the merges. They're led by the trio and the Khalils. All those guys are obviously insane. They've accomplished a lot in their cross-country journey. Tyson Khalil was actually the number 1 freshman, I believe, at MOC. So, that's something to always look forward to in the next year with his brother Jared. Dylan's going to be gone and graduating, but, that's a team that I wouldn't want to be messing around with. They did really well.
For sure. At number 4, we got Londonderry, who has had a really solid, consistent season. They've been led by Ryan Young and Matt Griffin the whole season, and they had an extremely fast team average this past weekend of 16:33. So they're returning a lot of their guys next year, so they'll definitely be a team to look out for.
So number 3 is a team that's really impressed me so far or throughout this year because the season's over. Very odd to me, but they've had a steady performance all year, increasing their pack time, increasing their places, everything. This week they were led by a strong performance from Michael Killian. Also, strong performances were from Trey Gonzalez and Rohan Rai. So, it's just their team was great this year. This would have been their first time in school history making it to New England. So this is also their highest placing at Meet of Champions in school history. So great race to them and all those boys.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Number 2 is Concord. This year they were only able to make the meet by the skin of their teeth. Their bus broke down on the highway, but they made it. They showed up to run, and that's what they did. Any other year, they would have came in second place or first place probably. They're led by Eben Bragg and Braden Kearns, and those guys just went blowing by me in the last 800 meters. I was standing still, and you just love to see it because those are guys that I don't even think were on the varsity team their freshman year, and now they're placing 2nd and 5th in the whole entire state. But you just love to see it. It's awesome.
Those 2, I will say, they have a crazy kick. That lethal.
They do. I went over that hill. Thought I had 4th place in the bag. Carter, he cheated, but he just went blowing by me.
Yeah. So at number 1, we got the Co-Brown boys. There's definitely a lot to talk about with this team. To start off, they had the fastest team average at Meet of Champions ever recorded of 15:40. They also had the lowest team score at Meet of Champions ever recorded of 29. This makes their team ranked 11th in the United States. And the trio of Aiden Cox, Luke Kasich, and Carter Sylvester is also the 8th ranked trio in the United States, which is pretty sick. We saw a really good performance from Aiden this past weekend, who actually broke the course record. He ran under 15 minutes. He ran 14:58, which is just absolutely incredible. So really excited to see what Aiden does these next 2 years.
Yeah, especially with no one even running with him for the last mile of the race. I was 10 seconds behind him for the first 2. But once that kid gets some competition, who knows what his capabilities are? It's just insane.
Definitely.
Yeah, I know. Next couple of years, I feel like I don't know what he'll be able to run, but it's going to be crazy things to watch.
He'll bring it to Sheary he'll bring it to Gavin Sheary for sure.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
All right. So the next question for you guys is, with Pinkerton and Keene obviously not being there, where would they end up placing on these rankings?
I think personally, Keene would have really been a good team to watch because they beat the Hanover girls earlier in the season, and Hanover won last weekend. So I really think that like Keene would have had probably a top 3 performance. Obviously, we will never know, but yeah, I think Keene would have had a really great, strong performance. And then Pinkerton, I think they're just a really good pack team and all of that. So I think they would have finished right around in the middle of the results. And also that could have totally affected other teams, because when you have a strong pack time, that can push off other teams as well. So I think it really would have mixed things up.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Morgan said. Like Pinkerton and Keene have traditionally always been like one of the top few teams in the state. So I think having them here in the race on Saturday would have made a big difference in the team scores. And also individually too, like both teams have really strong individuals on them. So I think that definitely would have shaken things up a lot. And it's a shame that like they didn't get to have that opportunity. So hopefully next year they will be just as good. So
Definitely. I gotta say this past season was not the same without Pinkerton and Keene. Definitely miss those 2 teams. I think the season would have looked a lot different if those 2 teams were actually able to race. I think especially for Pinkerton, Luke Brennan and Stephen Connolly, and then for Keene, Torn Kindop would have all placed within the top 10 under 16. So I think Meet of Champions would have looked a lot different team-wise and individual-wise if those 2 teams were there. It's really sad to see that they weren't there, but yeah. Luke, you got anything to say?
Yeah, honestly, I agree with Rohan a lot on the boys' side. Like Pinkerton and Keene, they would be right up there in the mix of it, like anywhere 3rd place to 6th place, mixing it up with teams like Wyndham, Londonderry, and you know that definitely Torrin Kindop, Stephen Connolly, and Luke Brennan, they would have all been right in the top group, sub 16 for sure, which possibly, I know for sure actually, takes add some points to Co-Brown's score, which is like kind of a shame that we couldn't be able to race them, but you know, it is what it is, and this year is different.
Yeah, and with next year, those guys are really going to be fighting for it. With missing this season, they're going to be out for blood.
Yep, definitely.
Really?
Luke Brennan and Torrin Kindop. Stephen Connolly, sadly, is senior, but yeah.
All right. Hopefully, I don't butcher this too bad. There will be no awards banquet like we normally have, in December. We all get together and have a great time. But however, there will still be awards given out for all divisions, all state, team of the year, runner of the year, and the coach of the year. All these people are still being considered as we speak right now. And yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, Landon.
With this being our last broadcast, our last cross-country season for all of us, you guys want to say anything special? I'll start
honestly,
it off.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I just want to give a shout out to New Hampshire cross country in general. These guys have just been amazing throughout my freshman year to my senior year, taking videos, interviews, rankings, just everything. Now, like when I'm older and have kids, I can go back and show them like who I was, what I was able to do. And it's I know it's speaking really ahead of myself, but it's really cool to think about. They made it possible, and just a huge shout out to everybody that worked hard for that.
Yeah, you're right.
Definitely.
I'll go. So honestly, I agree with Landon a lot because New Hampshire cross country has made everything like probably the best website, because all the other ones you have to pay for subscriptions or something, and New Hampshire cross country just has the best content in my opinion, no bias. And I also would love to give a shout out to this live stream and everyone that's made it happen, because I've had a great time my past 3 years being able to do it, and this is my last one. It's kind of sad, but it's cool to pass the torch. I hope the live stream can be even better in the years to come.
I also agree with everything that Luke and Landon said. I think obviously big shout out to New Hampshire cross country, but also just I think the community that like New Hampshire cross country and just the state of New Hampshire as a whole has built with cross country has just been phenomenal. Like it's been such an important part of my life. So even with like setbacks and everything, just everyone's been so supportive, and definitely going to be missing that. And so, yeah, but I'm excited hopefully for a track season to, finally race it off.
Yeah, for sure. Just like everyone's been saying, I agree with everything that those three just said. Definitely big shout out to New Hampshire cross country, and shout out to everyone that has like made this season actually happen. Like we're all really, really, really privileged to have a cross country season. I know like majority of states aren't having anything right now. It's all being pushed back or even being canceled. So I think that we have to have a big thank you to New Hampshire cross country and anyone that made this season happen, because who knows what we'd be doing right now if we didn't have races going on, and it would just be a lot different.
Yeah, going off of like what literally everybody else just said, obviously like big thank you to like the NHIAA for allowing like fall sports to happen, and the committees that like worked really, really hard on making sure like every single meet that we had was put on safely, and especially like the committee that determined like how we were going to do states and MOCs, like planning out so like every little detail, like from like the bathrooms to the starting line. And I just like super appreciative, as I'm sure like everybody else is, that we were just able to have those meets and that everyone was able to come race, and just have that opportunity because nobody else really did. So
For everyone watching, you should comment one thing that you're thankful for having this season.
Good idea.
yeah.
Well, it pains me to say this, but this is the last hurrah. This is New Hampshire Cross Country, powered by Runners Alley. This week's broadcast is brought to you by Merritt Hill Farm and Haunted Overload. Thank you to everybody that made this season happen, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.